In today's cyber world, the wolves are attacking. Is your company safe? HP Enterprise printers are built to help keep your company protected with layers of security that can stop the wolves in their tracks. Upgrade to HP Enterprise printers and keep the wolves out of your neck of the woods. Nothing is safe if your office isn't HP secure. HP Business Printing, the world's most secure printers. See the wolf and HP in action. Visit hp.com/the wolf.
Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the war room. We got Dez, Kill, Jimmy, PJ, B. Austin, the hot block commander. How you want it in a 1 or 2 hour show to keep the brain running with the premise to talk sports on a national level. Roll with the topic, sorta like the rebels. When it's game time, they like the Fab Five during prime time. Sports conglomerates speak their minds a little bit. For sports medicine and sports veterans and greats. The 4th and 26th, so the war in Kuwait. It's the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, diversified and educated.
Yo, what's good, War Room family? You are once again live in the War Room, brought to you by War Room Sports on the War Room Sports Podcast Network. I'm one of your hosts, Jimmy the Blueprint, and I'm at the round table with my brother B. Austin, waiting on him now. As usual, he's late. You know how it is. The NFL Conference Championship games were lit, and Super Bowl 53 is now set. James Harden is still on fire if you haven't been paying attention, but we'll rap about it all, so keep it locked right here. And to get in on the conversation yourselves, make sure you sign in right now to the JW Philly Realty chat room. That's at blogtalkradio.com/the War Room. Or you can join us on Facebook or Twitter. That's at War Room Sports. You can also call us directly in about 5 minutes. We're going to, basically open everything up in about 5 minutes. But first, we got to speak with Fred Perdue. He's going to talk about the college all-star game. You know, he's the college football expert. The number to the Digital Extreme Technologies hotline is 323-410-0012. Real quick shout out to Tobias because he gets upset when you call Fred the college football expert because he believes he is. But anyway, before we get started, make sure that during the week when we're not live on the air, you can check out all the archive episodes of, War Room Sports by going to warroomsports.com. So there's all archive episodes of the War Room, all of our content, you can find at the hub, which is warroomsports.com. Make sure you take a listen to our back catalog. This is episode 450. So we've been doing this for a long time. We've been podcasting before podcasting was cool, and our back catalog is ridiculous with all kinds of amazing guests, all kinds of topics, some that are as of that date, but some you can listen to at any time, some of the topics that we've tackled over the years in doing this show. You can find our past shows right in the War Room Sports mobile app. You can go to iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spreaker, Google. And you can find us anywhere that you listen to podcasts. My personal favorite is Pocket Cast. That's my thing. You know what I'm saying? I roll with the Pocket Cast. But, anywhere you get your podcast content, you can check us out. It's the War Room, TheWarRoom, for those, who may have trouble spelling some things. But just make sure you check out everything that we've done because we put out a lot of content over the years. Like I said, this is a special. This is 450. I don't think you guys know how difficult it is to get 450 shows, but we've been rather consistent, and we're still here giving you the best work that we got. Hey, B. Austin, you in the building yet?
I'm in the building.
Okay. I know you're gonna be pulling up soon. Waiting for you, good brother. But what's good though, man? What's up in your world, man? Everything good? Family good? You good?
Man, everything good. They setting up for the Super Bowl down here in Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm just watching the festivities. Laughing at Saints fans.
Yay.
Real angry.
You down there now. So
Yeah.
You down there? You going to go to any of the parties? You know what I'm saying?
Nah, brother. I once listen, there's this thing called 285 down here, man, right? So once you go inside 285, inside that loop, you're in Sodom and Gomorrah, and them people, they run the show. So you never know what they're going to tell you to do to get inside of a party. They might have you out here like Young Buck, out here doing what Puffy does. out here doing what Puffy does at them secret parties. You know what I'm saying? Out here, out here like
surviving.
I back up.
Listen,
I don't really, I can't participate.
I don't know if our listeners are reading between the lines in terms of what you say, but I'm catching everything you're saying, good brother Pauls. But some people love Atlanta, man, but some people tell the truth about Atlanta. I mean, they're called Atlanta in America. You know what though?
I got love for Atlanta.
But Atlanta's diverse though, because some people say that Atlanta's like the black Mecca for a black person trying to come up. That's the best place to be. So
I think there's a narrative. I think there's a narrative being pushed. Just like they could say this is the Mecca. How much of an oxymoron is it to have it be known for those activities and call it Mecca? But that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying.
Yo,
listen,
I don't know if a lot of people catch what you saying, man. But I ain't never think about that.
You can be at the top. You can be at the top of your game as an actor or an actress. You can go there as an actor in particular. But at some point, you got to put that lipstick on and wear that dress if you want to make them hundreds of millions. And if you don't, well.
So you're saying that there's a narrative about the area, about it being a black Mecca, but there's also a second narrative that okay, all right, man, interesting.
Listen, I'm speaking fast, but listen faster so I don't have to slow down and you don't have to catch up.
Listen, man, shout out to all our listeners out there in Atlanta. We got a lot of listeners in Atlanta, man. We love to support you guys, whatever you do, but B. Austin's down there now, so he has his own perspective, and he's trying to put us down. And if you caught
I stay around. I'm out here. I respect Sherman, General Sherman. Came through and emancipated, or he came through and burnt it down. Depends on your perspective. A lot of Confederate flags still around. A lot of Trump. A lot of folks that they want to make America great again.
Yo, how you man take words like great and give it a negative connotation?
Yo, because he is him.
How you take maybe? Yo, it's crazy because in a weird way, boss is still a master marketer, man. Like I always say that, like the whole crooked Hillary thing that stuck. This whole make fill in the blank great again. He made a slogan. I don't know if any other president, former president, has like an item.
Hey, we can't give him the credit of being a master marketer because now in this day and age, you don't have to do that much to be successful with marketing. I won't say good at marketing, but successful. You just got to make a lot of noise because so many people subscribe to the belief that all attention is good attention. So it's like he's so far out in right field. Say left field. He's so far out in right field that it don't matter what he does.
What they are. What I was saying is, and the results are what they are.
It's never going to be a total disaster. It's never going to be a total disaster.
I didn't call him a genius marketer because I don't throw the moniker genius around. What I said was I said master or good at marketing because, I mean, the fact that he's there is nothing but marketing, right? When you look at what I was talking about specifically is that red hat, all right? So I don't know if any other president has an item that you can point to that's like their thing that pretty much evokes. I don't care how you feel about him. You can love him, you can hate him. That's none of my business. Like, it is what it is. But what I'm saying is that hat itself just evokes the emotion. People see that hat, they get emotional one way or the other. It's a red hat with white writing, though.
This is true. It's true. That's a good point. That's a great point. But you're wondering what thing any other POTUS had. I think Bill Clinton had fellatio and a saxophone.
I mean, I was talking about an item now. All right, let's move on, man. Let's get into the sports, man. Let's talk some hot topics. Listen, before we do, let's talk about the money you can make betting at MyBookie. I mean, shots are locked. Super Bowl 53 is upon us, so if you haven't checked out MyBookie, it's a great time to do so. Lay some dough down on the biggest game in sports. You can join the war room and thousands of other online players placing bets at mybookie.ag. That's mybookie.ag. If you're tired of getting a runaround from other services when it's time to pay up, that's why you go to mybookie.ag. You win, they pay fast and without hassles. You're wasting your time sports betting anywhere else. They even have in-game live betting so you can place wagers after the game starts. Join now, and MyBookie will match your first deposit with a 100% bonus. Use the promo code WARROOM, that's WARROOM, to activate this offer. Go to mybookie.ag and put in WARROOM. Listen, again, mybookie.ag. Go play today. You get paid, you win, and you break your brothers off because you heard it from us. So look out for it, brothers. But it's time to bring on Fred Perdue. I think Fred Perdue is waiting to come online now. Hey, Fred.
This is Fred.
Speaking of Make America Great Again.
Oh man, hold on. What'd you say?
What's up?
What's up? You on the air? You in the studio, bro?
My fault.
This ain't
I
Fred,
got you on the
though.
air. You said it's not Fred. Oh, who
This
is
ain't Fred. This is Casey Mack.
Who is it?
Oh, this the Mac attack.
Well, hold on though. While we wait for Fred, let's just talk to you because Fred is supposed to be here at this point, but Fred is late as usual. We might have to place him with Tobias, but since you hear Casey Mack, man, and you called nice bright.
How did it feel to have two teams lose in the same playoffs?
Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. I've played college football. I've played high school football. I've played many of sports. I've even gambled on games, but I have never sat there and cried like a baby like I did last Sunday. I mean, tears came down my eyes.
For those who don't know, I want to catch our listeners up to speed. Casey Mack is originally from Kansas City, but he moved to Texas. So living in Texas, he started supporting the Cowboys, but he's originally from Kansas City, hence the name Casey Mack. And Casey Mack honestly thought that his hometown team was going this year, so he was fired up. And we saw the way the game played out. So that you're saying that's the worst loss that you've seen since you've been watching football?
That is the worst loss. I mean, I didn't have money on it. I mean, I was just innocent bystander. I sat there and watched the game, and tears just came down my eyes when we took the lead.
I'm
trying to think of
KC.
Yeah.
I was with you. I was with you, and I don't root. My rooting interest died when the Saints went marching in. But we're tied to Big Red and Andy Reid, and I'm an Andy Reid supporter, and I like Kermit the Frog at quarterback, so it hurt me. And plus, on the third level is I root against all Satanists, so I'm against the Patriots at all levels because they're Satan's team. So I'm rooting for y'all. They didn't give my man a chance to get back on the field, man.
That is crap, man.
Well, hold on, though. Let me ask you a question, Casey Mack, because I'm sitting there trying to think, and I'm trying to jog my brain in terms of some of the worst losses in Chiefs history. The only thing that comes to mind to me is that year when Joe Montana took the Chiefs to the playoffs, and he was out there looking like Superman, and I thought he was going to the bowl, and he came like a couple plays short. Outside of that, I can't really think of any tough losses like this. I'm pretty sure my brother Cesar can give me specific losses, but.
Well, that Lynn Elliott wide left, that was pretty bad back in the day as well. We had the best record in the AFC and first round bye and aspirations, and we can't kick a chip shot. So that was bad, but nothing touches this. Nothing, because
you guys
was so many highs and lows.
The number one seed.
Exactly, but even when we were down 14-0. I was cool. I said, you know what? We got them right when we won them. We're a second-half team. Mahomes is going to figure it out. He figured it out. We just
Casey, do you blame that loss on the defense or coaching?
I blame the loss on D Ford.
Strictly, he said forget defense and coaching. He's going to name one play.
No.
I mean,
like this.
that one play.
Go ahead.
Here's the thing, right? D Ford, and for those who don't know who D Ford is, a little more context, he's the guy that lined up in the neutral zone when Tom Brady threw the pick that would have ended the game, but he gave Patriots life again. I saw Andy Reid come out this week and say that the refs are supposed to warn him when he's lining up, and they didn't do so. What do you make of that?
Yeah, we should be going to Super Bowl.
I mean,
you know you're not going to get that. You know you're not going to get that warning playing against.
And I'm not trying to be like I'm not going to be like the New Orleans Saints fans and say whoa. And even though I thought they got time through too. But like I said, D Ford, I mean he should have known he was over the line. I mean it was blatant. There's no argument. I can't say, well, they shouldn't have called it. No, he was wrong. He was wrong.
Listen, here's my thing. I actually feel bad. I feel bad for you guys because I was actually rooting for you too, although I really don't care. But but at the end of the day, I want to see Andy Reid get his just due when it's all said and done because I think he is one of the better coaches, and he's just missing that one thing on his resume. So I was actually rooting for Andy Reid for that reason. You got to
root against evil. You got to root against evil.
That too. I didn't want the MAGA team to win either. But at the same time, I heard the sentiment going across the on the social media. It's like, oh, they'll be back. He's young.
No,
and
that's not true.
I always tell people Dan Marino was young too.
Exactly.
And he played a couple decades trying to get back and never went back. So, but this goes to show you how difficult it is to actually win a championship.
Exactly.
And which is why you have to give the Patriots
Casey
credit.
Mack was crying like a baby because that was our shot. Man, San Diego's going to be good next year. And you know what? It took one game for them to have home field advantage. It's going to be hard.
Here's what's crazy, right? Winning a championship is not just about talent. It's not about skill. You need certain things to fall into place. I mean, think about those two games. Those two games, two plays go a different way, and we got two different teams in the bowl.
Well, you know what? Look at Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman has two of the most prolific catches or replays of all time. That catch in the Super Bowl that had to be reviewed. Mm-hmm. That catch right there won them the game against Atlanta. And that little muff crap that they had the other day. Oh, my God. But, I'm like this. I mean, like this. They did what they needed to do. They had some tough catches at the end. The third and 10 killed us. So, I mean, if you want to blame anything, blame the third and longs. We had them dead to right several times. Now, what was he, 13 for 19 off of third down? We ain't supposed to win.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
And you know what? I know Fred's getting ready to come on with us, and he's a Patriots fan, right? So, although I do think he's somewhat of a front runner, but that's neither here nor there, Fred. But the thing you can say about the Patriots is they are beatable, but what they did, and which is in my Rudy Tom Janovich voice, you can't underestimate the heart of a champion, is that because most of that game Brady looked terrible to me personally, but when it came down to making plays, when he had to make plays, he looked like the old Tom Brady. And
he sure did.
I don't even know. Yeah, it's like when he had to do what he had to do, he did what he had to do. You know what I mean? Like, so you have to give him credit for that. But, man, Casey Mack, thanks for calling in bright and early with us, man. We about to move on a little bit. We're going to get into this in a little bit.
Hey, congrats on number 450.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate the support as always, man. And better luck next year. I know you had a rough week, man.
Y'all be good.
All right, take it easy, homie.
Yes, you.
Let's get on Fred Perdue, who shows up late for work as usual, man. Let's see. Hey, Fred, you there?
Hey, this is Tobias, man.
Yo, Fred's still in here. All right, so now we got Tobias on. I just mentioned on air that we're going to have to replace Fred with you, man. You don't like Fred being called a college football expert anyway. But
I've been told Tobias to take Fred's job. Tobias don't want it.
Hey, I'm in a different time zone here, so my hours may be a little screwed up and stuff. And I'm in an area where MAGA runs deep here. But
be careful, man. Be careful out there.
Hey, now I had got into an argument with a guy I know who criticized every black person who sang for Trump, but he's a Pats fan and loves Brady. I'm like, well, what's the difference here, guy? But when I But when I watched those games, right, the Saints were screwed when they got in Rams territory early and they didn't get touchdowns. When Drew Brees kept throwing those cold ducks, shout out to one of my favorite alcoholic beverages, cold duck, cost $5.99 for a bottle. But anyway, but here's the thing: when you don't convert and you're at home, that crowd can't be loud for every human being. And also, you know, Drew Brees didn't play great, right? We got to admit that. We got to admit Father Time is catching up with him. We won't say it because we like him. He didn't win a Super Bowl when Bush wasn't off. So we like him. Yes, I hate to say it. Go Bucks. But that call all they want.
Real quick, though, Tobias, and I want to say this, right? So, you know, obviously everybody knows I don't watch all the games, and I didn't see a majority of that game. I just saw the very end of it, but I did happen to catch the whole Chiefs game because I was somewhere in there watching it. So I saw the Chiefs game. I didn't see the most of the Saints game, and I did see that Drew Brees wasn't playing his best. But if I'm not mistaken, in the beginning of this season, he was having a good season, but towards the end, and I think someone told me that it was they tried to pinpoint to a game. It's like the Cowboys game, I think.
Tobias is mistaken. Tobias is mistaken with the notion that Drew Brees is falling off. Drew Brees has literally a midget to throw to and a guy that's a Jason Avant clone. Like that's all he has.
I want to ask both of you guys a question because I heard a lot of people say this and doing a little research. They were saying that Drew Brees has never had weapons, right? I mean, never had named weapons. Let's put it that way. But
not
they said
name weapons.
The Cowboys did something. The Cowboys did something when he played them defensively, and they said that I don't know whether it was the way they defended him or something happened in which he hadn't looked the same after that game. Because in the beginning of the season, Drew Brees was putting up numbers. He was in the MVP race, and still in the MVP race. But they said that towards the last couple of games after they played the Cowboys and the Cowboys gave him their work, he hasn't been the same. And even in the Eagles game, he wasn't dominant, but he made a lot of third down conversions. He kind of did what Brady did. He made the plays when he had to.
Yeah, but like I think what the Cowboys did was they were so fast at linebacker and a secondary where they actually could chase down Alvin Kamara. And the key to beating the Saints is slowing down their running game. They didn't run the ball well last week. And that was, remember those 3 or 4 years of Drew Brees was going 7-9. He was putting up numbers, but the running game was trash and the defense was trash. He got that support. Nothing wrong with that because every quarterback needs support. Everyone. So basically they didn't have that complimentary football to help him out.
You're saying he feeds off the running game, but the running game is open. It opens up everything else for him.
Especially that since Michael Turner's not a burner, they like that. But the Saints, the thing I'm worried about with the Saints, I'm not worried about like F them anyway. But they went all in this year. They traded a couple of draft picks to move up and get this Marcus Davenport kid, who's a good promising defensive lineman, but they're in salary cap hell. I'm thinking that Drew Brees is going to be like Peyton Manning. Remember that year in Denver where Peyton Manning was hot at first, then it just changed over the middle towards the end of the year, and then that next year he wasn't the same guy.
Yeah.
And Peyton had weapons.
Sad though, because his last year, Peyton was throwing like an 80-year-old man. He got older. But that's the thing though. When you talk about sports, you don't never know when it's going to hit somebody. Like the only person that probably never hit, and to be honest with you, and people know that I talk trash about him, but I don't think Father Time really hit Mike, because even when Mike got a little older, he still was probably one of the best players in the league. But I've seen Father Time hit players where, like Peyton Manning, where it's just like, yo, you're a shell of yourself. What are you doing? He wasn't even throwing spirals at the end.
My man Peyton Manning was here today, gone tomorrow. Like
it's crazy how that happened.
I mean, I hope it doesn't happen to Drew Brees.
Yo, it hurt me so bad because I used to live for the opportunity to say how great Peyton Manning was. Even though he won that bowl, yo, Peyton Manning looked terrible that last year. Terrible.
Yeah, they won despite Peyton Manning, right? So, but I just hope. I hope I don't have to see Drew Brees that way, because like I want to
go out on a high note. Go out.
Yeah, but it is what it is. Like you can't fight Father Time, man. But what do you think overall about this matchup now, going into the bowl with the Rams and the Chiefs?
Well, here's my thing, right? I had to touch about the Patriots. See, the thing about the Patriots, they remind me of the Golden State Warriors in this way. They lie to people. Golden State got people thinking all they do is jack up threes, but they spend most of the time getting layups in mid-range. And New England, people don't realize this. New England under Brady has always ran the ball well. You may not know who the hell the running backs are.
Yeah, they run the rock.
Yeah, cause remember
they got a Zoe Pound member who a little light in the body, but he be getting busy. My man Sony Michel be getting busy like Sakpase.
Because, but you know what though? They're well balanced. They're well balanced because, like you said, they use the run instead of the pass, and vice versa. Listen, I mean, they run a system, and their system is effective. Think about this. A couple of years ago, they won a Super Bowl with an 85-year-old Corey Dillon playing running back. Remember that?
I was about to bring that up. They had Corey Dillon. I remember they had Antoine Smith. I know Curtis Martin moved on before then, but they always believed in a running game. And that's why I'm not big on this whole – see, Broncos teams back in the late 90s, early 2000s got everybody fooled to running back by committee. But somehow those running backs left Denver, they did jack squat. But,
because it's about a system. But it's a system. The Patriots have a system too. But I still don't believe, in my personal opinion, that you waste an early draft pick on a running back because, I mean, history has shown you can find effective guys later on if you have the right system. Because what it really boils down to is Lee Austin always say,
it's all down to the fat guys.
It's about them fat boys in the trenches. The fat boys in the trenches win football games, and that's just what it is.
Jim, you know what though? That's why I was one of the reasons I was against Saquon Barkley going to the Giants, picking that high. So I remember I gotta give Michael Lombardi credit. He said, Saquon's a Bentley, but Sonny Michel, Nick Chubb are like Porsches, and Porsche still run good, But you got them late first round anyway. But you still spent the first round pick on Sonny Michel, but he was a later first round pick. Now I understand that if you got a Todd Gurley, Adrian Peterson, but the Rams always had talent. They had Jeff Fisher coaching, but the fight that is about the Patriots.
The thing, though, if you're a great running back, right, and you're one of the greatest running backs, I don't care how great you are, you can be taken out of a game. You can be taken out of a game if you put your money and your early picks into those fat guys up front. You know what I mean? Like you can find a team first running back, second round, late first round. To run behind those horses. I mean, some of those holes that Michelle was running through, especially those goal line plays. I'm like, any of us could have ran a touchdown.
I don't even know if Sony Michel. I don't even know if Sony Michel is good because the holes be so big. That's what she said. That I just he doesn't have to do anything to really get busy. Where I disagree. Oh my God, I feel sorry for him. But where I disagree, and I don't even think I disagree with your premise, either of you. I absolutely believe you build the O-line and you draft late. But Saquon Barkley might be the exception, and here's why. It's not just the fact that he's so explosive with the rock in his hand, and he's Barry Sanders' grandson, but his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield adds another dimension where you start to talk about him in the same sentences with Le'Veon Bell and Todd Gurley. So I don't mind that first-round draft pick because he catches the ball so well.
Most Giants fans that I know and talk to didn't like it because, especially the ones that are very objective. Like I'll give you an example. Well, not even an example. Let's just back up a second. Because even if you get him that early, right, and he's running behind a trash old line, for which the most part he did, you're still not going to have success in the win-loss column versus building up front.
That's true.
And getting someone like a Sony Michel in the late first round or someone in the second round. Now, you know what I mean? Like, that's a lot for a first-round draft for a running back that early.
I totally agree. I totally agree with that. Jimmy. I just think I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it from the perspective of a fan. So that line of thinking I apply to the team I root for. But outside of the team I root for, I'm just here to be entertained. So I don't want the Giants to win any games. They can go 0-15. And I want my man Saquon to have 100 yards every time, except when he plays us and they go 0-16. I'm cool with that. I'm here to be entertained.
Yeah,
you know what?
He's definitely the best. But the thing is, I don't know how you combine him, like, because it doesn't from a win-loss standpoint. To me, it's still about the guys up front. So you got to build their offensive and defensive line.
Perspective, you 1,000,000% right. You 1,000,000% right if you use the Giants as an example because they have a top 5 receiver, a top 3 running back, a top 45 quarterback, and they still can't win because the O-line is trash.
Where was Alvin Kamara drafted?
It's like 3rd round.
And
the Bucs passed on him. Yeah.
3rd or 4th. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about the running backs that played last weekend in the conference championships. Like who had a stud running back pause? Like I'm thinking about Alvin Kamara.
Mark Ingram was the first round pick.
Spencer Ware might have been drafted in the 8th round, and they don't even got an 8th round.
Yeah, I know Mark Ingram went in the first, but you know one thing about the Patriots though, D Ford line up offside. I'll get my Super Bowl thing in a second. A lot of times, one play could change legacy. What would the narrative be right now if D Ford lined up onside Brady threw that 3rd interception? Oh man, Brady's getting a little older. We don't know about the Patriots. Tom Brady's the GOAT. Yes. And then, like I heard you guys say, there is no guarantee Pat Mahomes makes to the Super Bowl because they're going to have to pay him in a couple of years. And so no defensive linemen, Tyreek Hill, are you going to be able to afford all those guys when Pat Mahomes get that big record-breaking deal?
Yeah.
And so those are some of the things that people don't understand.
Kermit D. Frog is getting that Miss Piggy money. Make no mistake about it. He is going to get that check.
Yeah. And like talking about the Super Bowl, right? Here's the problem. That the Rams, I think the Rams, they don't have a true number 1 receiver. The Patriots, like, we go take this person out.
Cooper Kupp.
I think Cooper Kupp's out with a knee injury.
Oh, yeah,
he tore his knee up. Yeah. So, honestly, I think Todd Gurley got to be healthy, and they got to run that ball. I know Belichick may line up and try to stop him, but I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. I think the Patriots are going to win because the ball somehow bounces their way. And we already know that a cornerback will make an interception. They're going to say Tom Brady did it single-handedly. But anyway, yeah. But
listen,
I think that Belichick and McVay will be a good coaching matchup.
Well, in our chat room, Shotty Savad, he says that there's no guarantees. Your next step can be your last step. He said there's no guarantees you'll get back unless you're Brady, of course.
Yeah, and here's the thing we got to be realistic about. Look what division Brady plays in compared to one Patrick Mahomes in. Denver never really been terrible for like an 8-year stretch. San Diego's a good team. They got a tougher division. Their schedule going to be tougher next year as a first-place schedule. So, and who knows? Then you got the injury bug perhaps. Find a running back to replace Kareem Hunt because he was the Patriots killer. Because every time they played the Patriots, he was giving them that work. And so you still got to replace that guy. Hope my Bucs get him. But I think it's going to be a good game. I'm curious to see what adjustment Sean McVay makes because Belichick, those guys be on it. And this shows why Tom Brady, as Rob Parker calls the luckiest of all time, because of the infrastructure and the stability he has. A lot of those coaches been around for like double-digit years. The damn offensive coordinator only missed 2 seasons out of retirement, and he came back. They have with the same coaching staff the whole time, all this continuity, a good owner who actually likes Tom Brady handshake. So I think that's where sometimes you talk about the luck aspect of where you go, your right fit at the right time.
Mm-hmm. No, you're absolutely right. And could you imagine if the Rams pull this out, how Sean McVay, how they're going to gush over him for the next decade?
Hey, Jimmy, the get-back coach, the Gatorade boy, the guy who's the assistant setting of the flight schedule, all of them getting jobs. There ain't gonna be no old black coaches now. They're gonna be Sean McVay, strength and conditioning coach, getting a job. The caterer may get a job. Who knows? The way this is going, and I feel sorry for the guy in a way because he's like, I don't have a coaching tree. I haven't been around that long, and these teams are stupid. It's like they're like the Cardinals. They hired a guy who failed at Texas Tech. He got fired at his alma mater. You know how hard it is to get fired at your alma mater? You know, and so they hired him. They hired like the Titans. I mean, the Packers hired one of his guys. Hold on.
Listen.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
You're right, but no, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right. What I was saying is, football is weird that way. Like where people get on bandwagons and jump on movements, and it's like now that Sean McVay is that guy. If you like share the meal with him, you're gonna get a job, right? It's like that in it's I've heard some stories, like, and I know, I heard some people were exaggerating, but it was like, anybody who's come across Sean McVay in the last 12 months is like getting an interview. Like he's that hot of a commodity, and we see the same thing in like the music business, or if an artist like blows up, who's their friend, who's around them, like everybody gets a deal. Like it's weird like that, but if he wins this bowl, it's gonna be. He's a young guy. He's the youngest coach, right? Youngest coach ever or whatever. But if he wins the Super Bowl this early, oh, my God. He's going to be like John Gruden all over again, but times 56. Like, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy.
And, and the thing is that we got to say, people say what they want. This man did a damn good job because Jared Goff looked like a bust the year before he got there. And, and like, he made him look good. And he pretty much going to his strengths. And I just think that, like, it's like with Saban in college. Like, every year they pick his coaches, but I'm like, they ain't Saban. Or like they did with the Eagles last year. That ain't that coach. Or Belichick, they ain't Belichick. You ain't going to replicate that because that guy is that guy. And remember when Phil Jackson kept getting picked and they all got fired in a year or so because they realized Jim Clemens can't coach? I just think that.
But that's the way it is. Sports is monkey see, monkey do, man. Like that's just the way it is. It's crazy that way. It's very crazy that way. But people try to get that magic. Not, like if you're a Popovich guy, you get a job.
Yeah, and that's crazy. And I'll say this real quick. I know everybody talking about like Harden and stuff like that. I've been a critic because I believe, hey, like Devin shouted at him, he said Chris Paul Steph are going down, but I wonder how this is going to affect free agency if anybody wants to come to Houston with the style they play. And I don't think they'll be able to land a big fish with that style of play. I don't know if they could afford it anyway, but just speaking, could they attract?
They can't afford a big fish.
Yeah, and I gotta get this guy Zach Lowe credit on this. He said like team like the Pacers, the Jazz, why you got cap space trying to get a free agent? Use that cap space to trade for a good player. You're under your contract for 3 years. But I think that with Harden, he's not going to be able to keep this up. We know it. But at the same time, people got to remember, Houston's 4-4 right now. Should be 3-5 if the Lakers close the deal Saturday night where half the team got hurt. So we got to remember, he's doing this, and they're barely winning, and his go-to move is traveling.
But here's what you got to understand though, and I pointed this out when we were having a conversation in our group chat earlier, that the D'Antoni system is such that there's going to be one guy that gets all the points and all the assists and looks like they're a world beater, because when Jeremy Lin played with D'Antoni, that's when Linsanity happened, and then when D'Antoni walked away, Linsanity stopped right away. Steve Nash played on
no, it's not just. There you go. It's not just Linsanity. You can go through a list of guards, typically point guards, that can run the pick and roll. It ain't even about your game or your athleticism. If you can run the pick and roll, D'Antoni can increase you.
I think Raymond Felton made the All-Star game playing with D'Antoni.
19-8 1 year under D'Antoni. Raymond Felton.
D'Antoni went. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So But when you like now, and this is actually give Harden credit because Harden is better than all those guys skill wise. So when you apply his skills to that system, you get this magic.
Yeah, and I say
so I think that Harden, you could raise a player by 2 levels. So I think Harden is potentially a Hall of Famer. Normally, in D'Antoni's system, he looks like an icon.
He looks like an icon living. But
living icon. Yeah.
We'll talk about a little bit about that in a little bit, man. But thanks for your call as always, man. We might get you to replace Fred because Fred ain't here yet, and we about to move on because he sold us out. But Tobias, man, thanks for your call. Thanks for your support as always, man. And roll damn tight.
All right, man. Take it easy, fellas. Go to hell.
All right, take it easy. Yeah, he caught that. He caught that. Yeah. But anyway, man, let's move on. Let's move on past that. Let's talk real quick. Just want to say congratulations to Baseball Hall of Fame class, Mariano Rivera, Edgar Martinez, Roy Halladay, and Mike Mussina, Bonds and Clemens, still a no-go. But salute to these gentlemen and getting in the hall. Mariano Rivera, unanimous vote, and many thought that he wouldn't get it because there's this thing in baseball where they don't want to give anybody a unanimous vote because Babe Ruth didn't get one on his first go-around. So Mariano got that. And it's interesting.
I don't understand. Go ahead.
No, I was saying I saw people this week talking about his legacy and what Mariano is. Like most people will say he's the greatest closer of all time, but I saw some people say he's actually the greatest. One person say he's the greatest failure of all time because the fact that you're a closer means that you can't sustain to be a starter in the major league, so you become a closer. So in fact, he's the greatest failure of all time.
That's kind of interesting, man. And I'm certainly by no means the baseball expert of War Room Sports. But when I analyze him and I analyze the game as I learned the game, I was like, all right, on one hand, this dude comes in kind of like a 6-man, throws 1, maybe 2 pitches, gets you the F out of there in like 15 minutes, and that's his job. And it don't matter what batter he's facing, he's going to take you down. But it's only like an inning and a half.
Here's what I will say. Baseball is such now these days that you have specialists, right? So it's not like he's a scrub, so we're going to make him the closer. He's a specialist. So and I tried to make an analogy to like other sports when I was thinking about it. I'm like, well, he's clearly the best at what he does. He's a closer, but he's a specialist. So I was like, in the NBA, if you have a 3-point shooter and they're clearly the best, how do I rate them if they're a specialist? You know what I mean? Like
they're not going to the Hall. So
I mean, there's somebody out there like I know. Vada's listening. He's a baseball guy. Casey Mack. Let me know if I'm.
That's a great analogy. That's a great analogy. But in NBA terms, you're not going to the Hall if you're Kyle Korver. Like as much as we like to celebrate the gay boy, Ray Allen. As much as we like to celebrate Ray, he was far more than just a 3-point shooter. So everybody that I think of that's purely a specialist, whether it's a 3-and-D guy, whether it's purely a 3 guy, defender, they're not going to the Hall. Rodman might be the only one that's just going to the Hall solely off of being a specialist. It's a good analogy. It's a comparable thing. But the Hall, that's where it kind of falls short.
Yeah, because here's what I was going to ask. Right, in the NFL, I'm trying to think. I know kickers have made it. Are there any special teams players? But how about a special teams player?
Devin Hester going to the Hall?
You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking about. How many, like, in any other sport, do you get in for being a specialist? That's kind of the question I'm trying to lead to. Like, I don't know. I mean, you know, I know Ray Guy is in the NFL Hall of Fame, and he was a punter.
And that's where they failed. Because kickers are not human beings. They shouldn't exist.
And real quick, circling back to our conversation in the chat room, Skyview was saying that when the Saints won the Super Bowl, Drew Brees had mega weapons. I'm trying to remember who was on that team. Skyview, let us know who he had at the skill positions back then. I just don't remember. Like, I know it was post Joe Horn. So who was his receiver?
Deuce. Who was the receivers? That was a little before Marcus Colston, I think.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, if they were mega weapons, we probably remember their name. I don't know their mega weapons, but maybe you can like remind us who was on that team. But yeah, I was thinking about that in terms of Mariano. Like, you know, people were talking about his greatness. I'm like, well, he's a specialist, and if you apply that across the board, what other specialists get in or don't get in? Let me see. I don't know who you say. Who's that? Casey Mack says Colton. You saying Colston or Colton? Either way, I don't know if that's a mega weapon, but Devery Henderson. Devery Henderson isn't a mega weapon.
Yo,
Colston and Devery Henderson.
Yo, if you never would have said Devery Henderson right now, we never would have brought him up for the rest of our lives.
That's true. Devery Henderson.
Henderson.
First of all, from now on, I'm not even calling him Devery. I'm calling him DeVry because.
DeVry Henderson.
Yo, DeVry Henderson isn't a mega weapon. I don't know. Hey, Scotty, you got to define what mega weapon is. When I think of mega weapon, I think of like, you know, all-time greats. But
Marcus Colston is underrated. Marcus Colston is underrated because he was a very good receiver. A super weapon, he was not.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so salute to those guys who got into the Hall of Fame. We're going to have that kind of probably take a conversation to our Facebook page or something. Like, can specialists from any other sport, are they looked at the same way closers are in baseball? You know. But anyway, let's talk a little bit of boxing real quick. Let's talk about your man AB, all about the billions. Adrian Broner. He thinks that he was robbed versus Pac-Man in their pay-per-view match, which actually did about 400K pay-per-view buys, which was more than the last heavyweight fight. So they actually put up a nice amount of numbers, probably based on him selling it on Instagram, but saying that he was robbed. I don't know if you saw the fight. I saw the fight, and it went just like I said last week. For those who don't remember, go back and listen to last week when I said he's going to lose because he doesn't swing his hands. I said I want him to win because I'm always going to root for the African descendant. But he doesn't. Yo, my man just doesn't fight. I don't understand it. Like it's mind-boggling. Yo,
first of all, before we get into it, yo, I saw the interview where the boy said you only threw 8 punches in the round. Before we get into let's talk about your rooting interest. So, would you root for Steven? Shout out to Django Unchained.
Now, it depends upon who Steven's opponent is.
Yo, we can't root for AB.
Right? So,
you can't root for that dude.
Here's my thing about AB. I'm gonna tell you why I do. Right. Granted, it's cringeworthy sometimes because of the way he carries himself, but there's a small part of me, and it's the ratchet part of me that enjoys when he acts very I don't even know the word to use. When he goes around Europeans and just acts the way he acts, it's a part of me. There's a part of me that actually enjoys that because he makes them so uncomfortable, and I enjoy it tremendously. And I can't even lie about that. I know I sound immature saying that, but there's a small part of me that actually gets a kick out of that. Because I love to see when
Huey Newton, Muhammad Ali, Jeff Fort, they all made him uncomfortable too. But they were uncomfortable with the militant intellectualism.
They made them uncomfortable because they thought they was going to catch hands around them guys. But So there's a small part of me that enjoys the coonery. Let's keep it a bean, like from an entertainment standpoint. You know, part of me is still immature, man. I'll never grow up. So part of me finds that to be amusing. Not gonna lie about that.
Yo, neither will I, but still, he's a coon.
Yeah, I mean, you know, well, that's subjective. But hold up, though. Skyview, stop it, man. Just stop it, man. He says Marcus Colston had over 1,000 yards that season. That's no longer a benchmark. That benchmark is 1,000 yards. It's some trash receivers that get 1,000 yards these days. But again, you said mega weapons, man. You know that's not a mega weapon.
Marcus Colston is the homie from Pennsylvania. He's the homie. He ain't a mega weapon though, yo.
Yo, Scott, you can admit that you was how they say in the DMV, you cite that one. He wasn't a mega weapon, man. Anyway, get him back to the fight though. My man landed like 50 punches total in the whole fight. He just wasn't fighting. I just don't, you know, it's robbery. And the crazy part is because they did the amount of buys they did, if he would have just shown better, he probably would have been able to get more, more money and more fights. But his showing was just awful.
Yo, his career is done. His career is done, thankfully.
I don't even know what he can do at this point, man. But he said he was proud. He said he really feels like he won.
Go back on Instagram, paint the whites around his eyes a little brighter, and then you got the raccoon.
Yeah. Listen, man, we already talked a lot about the NFL. What happened last week with our first couple callers we got in. Salute to Skyview. He said, he admits it. He said overachiever. So he went from a mega weapon to an overachiever. So we agree now, Skyview. He definitely was an overachiever. But B. Austin, I want to ask your overall opinion about those two games. Again, like I said, I saw some of the end of the Saints game and I saw the whole Chiefs game. What do you think about the games overall? And what's your initial thoughts on the Patriots versus Rams?
I thought that the Rams were going to lose that game, even though I picked them. Mm-hmm. I thought the Rams were going to lose that game. I thought that Drew Brees was going to do Drew Brees things, and he didn't play terrible. Mm-hmm. I believe that Sean Payton, in some of his play calling, he's a great play caller. But with all greats, when you do something well, sometimes you tend to show off. Like I try and explain that in our conversation with certain shooters in the NBA. Like you'll see one guy that shoots a high percentage. You'll see another guy shoots a lower percentage. The guy that shoots the lower percentage is willing to take more difficult shots. It's not that he's a worse shooter. The guy that has the higher percentage stays in his lane. Okay, so Sean Payton knows that he's very creative and very adept at calling plays. Yo, you don't got to bring number 7 in, man. The boy Payton and kill Drew Brees' rhythm, run Drew Brees in and out because you got a white toy that plays like a athletic black guy. Yo, get dude out of there, man. You're doing too much. You're breaking people's rhythm. You're hurting things. So I put some of that on Sean Payton. Obviously, the refs blew the call, but I never believe ever in my life that one play changes the complexion of the entire game. I feel as though you lose the game based on the momentum that you build or destroy throughout the course of a game. And so that play, as egregious as it was, didn't cost the Saints their road to the Super Bowl, allowing the Rams to come back. And as Tobias pointed out, the Saints not scoring early cost them, so that's really to take the play was terrible. The play was egregious. Someone should be fired. Someone should be fined. Heads should definitely roll, but that wasn't what cost the Saints. The Chiefs versus.
Well, hold on real quick. Hold on. Let's stay there real quick.
Stay there. Okay.
And it's interesting because I hear a lot of people say that, but my response to them is, what if that was your squad? How would you feel if that was your Eagles? Mm-hmm. They could have made that, they would have got that penalty, kneeled on the ball, kicked the field goal, and would have been on their way to the bowl, but the refs didn't call it. And you can point to a lot of plays in the game. You can't say it's that one play, but how would you feel if that was your team?
In the words of Christopher White, somebody got to die.
Christopher Wallace, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. So on one hand, I get your point. You can't really point to one play, but that might have been one of the more egregious things I've seen in terms of a missed call. When they slow it down and show the ref was staring at it, he looked like he was going to make the call. You see the other ref flag him off, don't call it. It's just weird. I mean, I love a good conspiracy theory, but that was just weird. How do you miss that?
So you think? I mean, listen, listen. That could have been that Robert Kraft put that call in and said, "This is who we want to face. We're not trying to see Drew. We're more comfortable facing Goff." I don't know, man. That was crazy.
Scott, if that was your Raiders, how would you feel? It's all fun and games till it's your squad, because that was an ugly play. Like you said, though, they could have done several things better throughout the game, but that was ugly. It was.
No, but, there's no denying that. That was crazy.
All right, so let's move on, though. Let's move on to the AFC. What were your thoughts on that?
I felt like defensively. Well, first of all, let me say this. Give credit. I gotta give credit where credit is due. Belichick, Robert Kraft, Brady. I think Gronkowski, Julian Edelman. They definitely got together. They drank some of that goat's blood. They chanted, and they made it happen. Belichick called a very good game, and they balanced things out. They ran the ball. And in a certain way, it was almost like we have to control the clock, because we don't want to get his young bull Kermit the Frog more opportunities and more time than we already have to. And I believe a part of them running the ball was to control the clock and to keep his rhythm from developing, which eventually it did. He got kind of hot in the second half, but I think the running of the ball was to kind of control things. Not to mention they just don't have the weapons outside other than Gronkowski, who's 50% of what he was 2 seasons ago, and has the body of an 80-year-old. Even he came through with a really big play. I was disappointed in the overtime rules, which are always the overtime. I mean, they are what they are. But you gotta create a scenario for competitive greatness' sake that gets that young bull Kermit the Frog back on the field in overtime, man. When the Pats won the toss, I knew the game was over. Brady wasn't giving that ball back. I knew that. Now,
you mean Kermit the Frog?
Kermit the Frog wasn't going to get the ball. Brady wasn't going to get that ball back. He was going to drive down the field. And shame on Andy Reid a little. I think the Chiefs have an okay defense. It's not bad. But they definitely need to invest, if they can, in something on that side of the ball. Something. So I don't know. Tell you.
It was crazy to watch because, again, I wanted Andy Reid to win. You know what I mean? And Brady looked terrible for most of the game, in my opinion. But when it came down to making them plays, he made them plays. To me, the MVP of that entire game, and I said it in our group chat, was Tony Romo, because Tony Romo called the hell out of that game. I think I came away watching that game more impressed with Tony Romo than any player.
Every play.
Yo, it was one play where he actually drew the play on the screen where he drew it with his thing like they're going to run. He's going to run here. He's going to run here, and they're going to throw the ball down the middle. And they did it. And I was like, yo, what's going on here? Like,
him in the broadcast booth makes you like him even more. Like, I despise all Cowboys, but you can't help but like dude, man.
No, here's the thing though. I'm a Tony Romo critic. I think that he threw picks at the wrong time. Like, me and Deb go back. He's a Tony Romo apologist, a fan, and I'm on the other side of the argument most of the time. I recognize he has talent, but he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT in the booth though. His booth game is major. There was some people calling for him to get an offensive coordinator or a head coaching job after that game. Because I thought it was just me, and I went on Twitter, and I was like, oh, everybody is seeing what I'm saying. This boy's calling the game. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy how he sees the game. To me, he was the MVP of the game. But on the football side of it, man, D Ford, come on, D Ford. D Ford, you drawing, cuz. Like,
the
game was over at that point. Yeah, the game was over at that point. The game was literally over, and you gave him new life. And it looks like ever since that play, Brady just started getting sharper. Like, oh, they're gonna give me a chance to like still compete. Edelman, all of a sudden after the game, I'm seeing online, and even like watching the pundits on TV talk about Julian Edelman is now a Hall of Fame guy. What's your thoughts?
What? Get the entire F out of here.
You know how like somebody will say it and then they run with it, and that's been a topic of discussion.
Hell no.
Is Julian Edelman? You say no?
Hell no.
Another play that has to be talked about is Skyview just reminded me of it. I forgot about it. Was that roughing the passer penalty with the ball didn't even touch him? He said that was like the tuck rule.
I mean, listen, we're joking and we're saying things for the entertainment value, but I dead on believe Jimmy believes in conspiracies and believes that Robert Kraft sends that bag where it needs to go, and I believe that they worship the devil and the devil controls the NFL. So
I'll go with
things
that.
like that is going to happen.
I'll go with that. So, so now we have Patriots Rams. And I know we'll talk more in depth about this as leading up to the bowl. But just your initial thoughts on what you think about that game. Are you looking forward to that game? You know, the funny thing is, because the Patriots won, it kind of like killed a little bit of like people's excitement about the bowl. People were looking forward to seeing like a Chiefs Rams, like a two young quarterbacks, but it's the same old.
Yo, the Rams have to get 300 yards rushing in order to win.
300 yards rushing. It's just difficult, man. Like Belichick somehow finds a way in these games, man. It's like, I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough, man. But we'll see what happens. We have a lot of time to talk about that. Couple other things real quick before we move on. This past week, there were anonymous Eagles players that were telling media members that Carson Wentz is selfish. He plays favorites, and it's why the team responds to Nick Foles the way they do, because he's more of a leader. So some players came out right away and said, it's not true, I didn't say it, yada, yada, yada. And then some players didn't say anything at all, which led to speculation about who said it. What do you think about it? Do you think there's any truth to this, or you think it's just like the media members making up stories?
Alshon Jeffries is out here lobbying to get the ball more, and he knows in order to do that, he's got to slander Carson. Bottom line, Alshon, we know what you're doing, man.
Shout out to our brother Hank, who said that right away. He said, "Man, it ain't nobody but Alshon." And the funny thing is, so Eagles players came out right away and talking about this is wrong, that's wrong. You go to Alshon Jeffries, John, and he got regular IG John, like, you know what I mean? I'm out here chilling, taking pics. He ain't say nothing. So that's the speculation that it was Alshon, but they said it was more than one player. And the reason I think it might be partially true is because the way the team reacts to Nick Foles is kind of drawn. And they go overboard to show their love for him. Like, they make shrines of him and stuff like that. That's a little bit too much. So, like, I've always thought that was weird. Like, are you doing that to send a shot at the other guy?
Let me ask you this. What alpha male starting NFL QB who's the Don Dada isn't a little bit egotistical and selfish? Like,
yeah, I've heard that.
Nick Foles isn't that. Nick Foles isn't Nick Foles, but Carson Wentz is a guy that the Eagles gave up a lot to get. He knows that he's the man. He builds his image kind of in a clutch sports manner. Oh, he's such a nice guy and blah, blah. Man, Nick Foles knows that he's the man. He is probably a little selfish. He sees the way the team rallies around. I'm not concerned about this in the least. I'm not. I don't think I think it's a non-issue. I think that all starting QBs have a huge ego and a little bit of selfishness. And I think that his recovery from injury sort of derailed some of the development that we should have seen this season. So he regressed a little bit and he became dependent on his binky, and his binky is 6'5", 260, named Zach Ertz. Like, if he had time to focus on development and OTAs as opposed to recovery, I think we would have seen more distribution of the ball. We would have seen sharper passes. We would have seen more accuracy. Mm-hmm.
Some of the criticism from the quote unquote anonymous players were that his ego is so crazy. They said he acts like he won 10 championships when he hasn't won anything. They said that he doesn't really call the offense the way that Nick Foles does. So there'll be running plays called, and he'll call out of them just based upon his ego. Like, where Nick will let the plays, like, call the plays as they're called, and basically Nick sticks to the script. And they made a comment saying that he'll come in and say, don't give me none of those Nick Foles plays. Like, so they were insinuating there's a little bit of jealousy there. Who knows? Who knows if any of this is true, because they're all saying this anonymously, which is, cowardly to begin with.
This is all Alshon.
The reason they're saying it's anonymous is because they said that he has such power in the organization. But they're saying that his on the field, a lot of that goes to his ego. I don't know, man. We'll see, man. End of the day, the team already came out and said he's that guy. So if it is what they're saying it is, it'll work itself out one way or the other.
Nick Foles as a QB is nowhere near the athlete Carson Wentz is, so he has to stick to the script. He has to. Mm-hmm. Carson Wentz is able to do things that Nick Foles can't, and so his ego is like, yo, I'm the man. I want my QB to feel like he's the man. So I'm all right with it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just don't rape little girls. Shout out to Pittsburgh starting QB.
We got a call we want to get to in 1 second, but before we move on, and I tell people how to get in touch with us, just want to get stat of the week, and that's Landry Shamet. Is the first NBA player to make 93 pointers in the first 49 games of their rookie season, while shooting at least 40% from the arc. I know that sounded like a LeBron stat, but Landry's been playing very well, and we saw someone post that statistic, and it was like, wow, I didn't realize he was playing that well, So salute to him and the Sixers for looking like, that they're figuring things out, getting into the middle of the season. But that's our stat of the week. So he's made 93 pointers in the first less than 50 games into his rookie season, and he's shooting 40%. So that's impressive. So salute to him for that.
Shout out to Markelle Fultz.
Before we get into some more sports topics, and we're going to get to that call, we just want to say that you can check out our website at warroomsports.com. While you're there, take your time to look around, click on the Contact Us tab to send us a message about our company, our show, or to inquire about sponsorship and advertising opportunities, or to join our network. For general inquiries, you can email us at warroomsports.com. While you're browsing the site, click on the Memorabilia tab to buy War Room Sports merchandise. Click the Blog tab to read our latest articles in the All's Fair in Sports and War blog. Then click the respective icons and tabs to follow us on all social media platforms. to subscribe to our iTunes podcast or to watch our webcast at War Room Sports TV. Everything can be found right at our hub. That also includes our mobile app, which is Android and iOS. That's all. Also at warroomsports.com. If you want to join the JW Philly Realty chat room, you can do that right now at blogtalkradio.com/The War Room. To enter the chat room, just sign up for a free profile on Blog Talk Radio. If you don't want to create an account, you can just sign into your Facebook or Twitter account. We're pretty sure you got one of those. And while you're at it, click follow. You'll get updates and reminders about the show. We'll be taking questions and reading posts from the Facebook, Twitter, as well as our chat room as we've been doing so far this show. And if you want to call and speak to us, you can dial the Digital Extreme Technologies hotline. That number is 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. If you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to talk. We're going to talk about some things that happened while you were on the ground. But we do have a call on. I believe this is Naj, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see who this is right here. You're in the War Room. What's going on?
Ain't nothing, man. What's going on, fellas?
This Naj, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, that was you, good brother. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's cold as hell down here for some reason, but I'm good. It's good with y'all.
Yeah, we ain't come to Georgia for all this, did we?
You know what I mean? And once again, the cursed city. So when they get the Super Bowl, it's gonna be an ice bowl again, and people can't go to the functions like they planned on. So that's what it's looking like, man.
That's just God treating the Sodomites and the Gomorrites and the Patriots fans that they deserve, man.
Well, he's hated this city for a long time, man. So, I mean, you kind of got to expect it at this point, bro. But at the same time, I know y'all ain't on here making excuses for that stinking city to the south of us who lost that game. Of all fan bases to have sympathy for, that ain't the one. Those former bag wearers are now trying to act like, they the elite because they got one chip. I'm tired of them. I'm glad they took that L. And I hope we never see that quarterback of theirs again either, man. So, I mean, I ain't finna be out here. These people talking about replaying the game. Like, replaying the game, bro? That is the ultimate crybaby like, bro, come on, man. I can't believe y'all giving them a pass on this. No, them raggedy Saints fans got screwed over by raggedy NFL officiating for hell.
Not just calling for a JoJo award. That's basically what he's saying.
No, you know what? You know what though? You know what, Naj? You're absolutely right about that. I just like to tell people all the time though, if that was your team, how would you feel? Because listen, I don't have any sympathy for him at all, but that play was ugly though. You gotta admit that play was ugly.
It was, but at the same time, sometimes the genius wants to be recognized as a genius instead of doing the sensible thing, running the ball and kicking the field goal, which would have won the game for him, as opposed to doing what he did, which was, I mean, what are you doing? Like, what if you are going to throw it, it should be the who? It should be the who. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? Why would you run it? And if we're keeping it a buck, if that DB wasn't halfway crazy, he had a pick six because that old man with the limited arm strength right now appears to have short-armed that one. So, I mean, it is what it is, man.
And you know what's funny? You're the first person to make that argument, and it's so much to that. Like, I'm talking to people about this all week, and you're the first person to say, well, you should have just ran the ball. Like no one has even brought that up. Like, yeah, you're right. If he just runs the ball, you don't even put that, you don't even make that in, like, an option for them to miss that call.
Yeah.
So
they've been telling us we should have ran the ball for 3 years. So we ain't gonna say nothing now when it's their turn. No, I'm saying
run the ball and kick the field goal. From what distance again? Where was the ball at?
That was
I'm not sure. I know they were in the red zone.
Yeah, they were in the red zone, so they could have just ran. Because even if they make that call, if they make that call, they can kneel on the ball and still kick it and it's over. Like, but I didn't. Like, you're the first person that bring up. Well, you shouldn't even threw that pass. You could have ran the ball right there and kicked the field goal. Be conservative instead of being Sean Payton.
Yeah, the one time in his life when he's not conservative. You know what I'm saying? He blows the game. So it is what it is. Couldn't have a more deserving coach either.
I kind of made that point earlier. Naj, I made the analogy of a talented shooter versus a guy that's just, kind of a good scorer. Let's say LeBron. LeBron's field goal percentage is high, but we don't think of him as a great shooter. versus a guy like Kobe who can shoot his ass off, but Kobe will take behind the backboard shots and think that they should go in. That's Sean Payton as a play caller. Sean Payton knows that he's smart, knows that he's a good play caller, so he gets a little beside himself with the extras.
Yep, agree. And that point you made about overtime, that's a well-made point, man. Not only should the NFL change the overtime rules, but honestly, if you change all the other rules and get us into a college-style shootout type of football, then of course you should update the overtime rules, because the overtime rules were back in the day when it was really hard to move the ball, really hard to score, because you weren't giving the offensive side all of the benefits of new rules. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to play this style of football, then yeah, you should change overtime. Like you're right on that one, man. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Do you think they should just adopt the college rules already?
They did not let my man Kermit defraud back on the field. That hurt me, man.
Yeah. And if we get into them, man, Andy's taking a lot of heat. The only mistake Andy made was bringing that defensive coordinator back this year. He should have been fired last year. Marcus Peters called for it on the way out the door, and we saw why. They sat there and covered 2 against the Pats when the Pats don't have a deep threat. Brady has trouble getting the ball down the field, to a certain extent as far as bombs. Hell, the Patriots are so desperate for a deep threat, they brought in, our boy Josh. Yeah. They wouldn't have normally done that. But
that's
this
situation,
they sat back and covered 2 all night as if Edelman is going to beat you 50 yards down the field.
I'm a big proponent of the cover 2, but you don't run the cover 2 with a guy that can't throw the ball 20 yards down the field outside the numbers. For what? Yeah, that was interesting.
Right, and no weapons to get it done.
Well, people like, this is what I run, and we're going to keep running this, and you see it's not working, but you're so stubborn. You're like, this is what I run. That always intrigues me about sports in general when I see that. When I see coaches on both sides of the ball who just are so stubborn that this is what they do and they're going to continue to do it. Like, it's obviously not working, but I'm going to do this. Like, that made no sense at all. Still shout out to D Ford, though, because D Ford still, he has to hate himself.
Yeah, man, that dude cost me a couple $1,000, so I'm kind of heated about that. Cause that game could have went the whole other way. Yeah, that could have went the whole other way. But just think about this though. If you're not necessarily a good defense, the only strength you have is the one edge pass rusher, and you got Eric Berry back, it's really important for you to not only take risks, but you have to be high pressure. You can't allow them to dictate to you. And they sat back there and allowed them to run the ball. I think Michelle had 17 carries in the first half, and they just kept the ball out of Mahomes' hands and dominated the game in that way. Now, it changed in the second half, but hell, it should have never came to that point because you shouldn't have allowed them to play football that way. And then on third down, like I said, they would sit back in that cover 2, and Brady was just eating them up for those little 7- and 10-yard completions whenever they didn't get nice gains in the running game. And Gronk is finished. Why are people still covering Gronk as if Gronk is going to kill you up the seam?
Yeah.
And,
Gronk might be finished, but he treated Eric Berry like a little boy on a couple plays.
Yeah. Well. Here's the thing. Gronk blocked most of the game. Gronk blocked most of the game. But what impressed me is, because I didn't even think Brady had the best game. But what impressed me is with Gronk and Brady, when it came in, as they call it, nut cutting time, like they made the plays when they had to. Because Gronk was blocking most of the game, but when they called his number and he got the man up, it was like, all right, now is my number. Let me do this.
Yeah, but DBs have talked about this all season. They said the thing they found out was Gronk can't restart anymore. So if you redirect him or try to jam him early, it's not the same as back in the day, or I don't want to say back in the day, let's just say 2 years ago, where Gronk can still hit that second gear on you and create separation. Now, if you're able to get him initially, on contact, he can't juice you like he used to. So, I mean, it was bad defense overall, but that coordinator, he's done. I'm sure he won't be in the NFL anymore. They just hired Spagnuolo today, so that's an upgrade for the Chiefs. But sometimes, man, scheme-wise, like you have to do different things. You have to have your players at least aggressive. Like you didn't go into that game thinking your defense was good, so I have no idea why he thought they were going to, perform well and just tackle everybody after catches. Like, nah, Brady's going to carve you up. It was dumb. So
let me ask you guys a question. We got a comment in our chat room that says the Chiefs miss Hunt. Do you think that he would have made any difference, or do you think they miss Hunt at all? What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, I mean, you got to. Yeah, he's a better back, so he would make a difference, but that wouldn't have stopped him from holding the ball on him in the first half. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I mean, he's a better back, so I mean, yeah, an upgrade would be nice. Like, who don't want to upgrade? You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, the plays were there to be made. Mahomes had a few bad misses of what would have been big plays, especially in that first half. He appeared to have the jitters on a few throws. So, you know, they were making a lot of mistakes, man. And I kind of feel bad for Andy just because a lot of this is being blamed on him when that damn DC, man, that boy was horrible.
Yeah. Well, before we get you out of here, let me ask you, what's your early thoughts on this bowl? Like, how do you see this playing out? You know, is it going to be a good bowl? What's your early thoughts?
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty close. I guess the only thing that matters is if Jared Goff is scared of the moment. If he can just play to his level, they'll be fine because he plays off play action and what Gurley can do. And I don't know if Gurley's banged up or what, but he doesn't look as explosive. But always remember with Brady, the most important thing is pressure up the middle, and ain't nobody blocking your boy. So there's going to be pressure on Brady, and they won't be able to just, run the ball at will. So I think the Rams are going to win a close one, man. And I'm not saying that because I hate the Patriots.
Okay. All right. That's what's up. You're the first person to say pick the Rams, salute for that.
Y'all Eagles folks got to chill out, man. Anybody who is sitting on the sideline hurt and somebody else is taking your job and won a chip, you're going to be insecure as hell about it. So, yeah, Carson Wentz is insecure about that dude, and y'all got to get him out that damn locker room. You can't have that dude there and expect Carson to prosper. Either you ship Carson out and roll the dice, or you ship that dude out, and the logical thing is to ship out Foles because, hell, man, come on.
I'm trying to see Nick Foles get $37.8 million a season for what he did for my friend.
Yeah. So
he gonna get somebody fired.
What you're saying is, pretty much. But what you're saying is that it's probably true, but at the same time, like, who wouldn't feel that way?
Yeah, dude. Did y'all ever have a situation? Look, I don't want to get too personal, but let's say I took some liberties on senior skip day and I was academically ineligible for one game, and we happened to win that game on the road. Man, you think that next game I wasn't inside hoping that we lost, which we did, and I came back, got my starting spot back.
Listen, I understand exactly what you're saying.
I'd have been shook, bro.
Listen, I totally get that because I often wonder when you watch it, like I wonder how did he feel that whole Super Bowl run? Because part of him has to wish that they didn't win without him. He just has to. There's no way.
Deep down. Hey, imagine you come to work, you miss a day next week, and some dude comes in and reorganizes and makes everything better as far as y'all computers or how everything works throughout the department.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be at work Monday on point. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is, man.
You know, it's funny though because I saw a debate this week, right, where someone said, "Wentz should feel that way because he doesn't have any rings," and the argument was, well, he does have a ring. He has a ring from last year. So, and I even saw Devin's argument. His point was, before he got hurt last year, he's the reason they were in position to make it because he had such a great season. How do you so when the story is all said and told, let's just stop it now. Say he never wins the ring. Does that count last year as Carson Wentz having a Super Bowl? As we compare quarterbacks,
it'll count technically, but when you talk to an athlete, y'all were athletes as well. You know what sweat equity is. You know what you contributed to and what you didn't. So you have the ring, but you ain't gonna feel as good about it.
I guess it's the same as does Phil Simms count his ring that he won when Jeff Hostetler took his place?
and what kind of dudes you are? Hey man, there's some grown men who are comfortable playing Madden on rookie, and you know what I'm saying, and winning matches. Like there's some people are built different. I like that.
Bars.
I like that one.
In the grand scheme of things, let's talk about character, and because that's really where you're going with it. So Carson Wentz, if he is who I believe him to be, cannot allow himself to feel comfortable having another man walk around with his babe, buy his groceries, and coitally exercise with her, right? So that's kind of what it was, even though he was an excellent man up until game 11, right? At MVP rate. So I think as history analyzes, some of our us sports nerds will point to the fact that, hey, he played 11 or 12 great games before Nick Foles. But the storytellers, they're going to want to, the Nick Foles story, that narrative is what sports is about to a certain level. Nick Foles was almost out of the NFL. He wanted to quit, and then he came back and won a Super. I mean, that's a great story.
But it doesn't end well. This ain't Kurt Warner. He's about to go get somebody fired after they give him that bag.
Listen, he is not Kurt. He is not Kurt Warner. And so I do think he's good enough to be a star.
Hey, don't forget, Kurt Warner also took the Cardinals to the bowl too. Don't forget about that.
I ain't forget. Listen, if Nick Foles or Blake Bortles.
Woof. God. Look, I'm not a Nick Foles fan. I don't think he's great, but he's a lot better than Blake Bortles. Like, Blake Bortles has always been terrible. The seasons he racked up yards and high touchdowns, look it up. Those were where they were playing from behind, and he was just putting up numbers in garbage time when he was winning fantasy chips.
Right.
But when you go back to that AFC Championship game, when they had a ticket to the Super Bowl and they took the ball out of his hands because they couldn't trust him. I mean, that tells you everything about that dude.
If Nick Foles ends up in Jacksonville, now obviously that defense has to decide whether they've fallen off or whether they have some pride. If that defense has some pride with Nick Foles back there, how does he change the complexion of a team like Jacksonville?
I think he makes them a championship contender, man, because that defense is legit.
Right.
Remember, dude, they played a season where they missed Fournette for 10 games. What team can miss an all-pro player for 10 games, a major cog of your offense for 10 games and still succeed? You put Nick Foles there,
they're not controlling the time. They're not controlling the clock, and you got Blake Bortles having to make throws that he can't make because he's not an NFL player. So I feel like in the right situation, Nick Foles becomes a decent replacement. Now, if you ask, it's almost like these guys. It's like Kirk Cousins or the other boy that went to Denver. They're not starter caliber QBs. Nick Foles is probably a little better than them, but he's not someone you want to carry your team. So I think if he ends up in the right situation, you gotta let him go realistically because Carson Wentz is his team. So.
Yeah, that's the trouble, though, because if you're his agent, is it your job to get him to the best place where he can succeed, or the stupid owner who's about to throw that bag at him as if he's a franchise guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're the agent, do you steer him towards the money, or do you steer him towards where you know he's going to succeed on a team that's built to win?
Here's what I say. You already had your Disney story. You got your championship. Now it's time to go get some generational wealth. It's time to get that check.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the great Martin Luther King. As he said, we coming to get our check, man. Salute to him. Anybody that don't know, at least YouTube it. Find out about it. Holding it down, though, man.
We
Appreciate
coming to get our check.
Y'all.
All right, thank you, good brother. Thanks as always.
All day.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Great call by Naja as usual, man. We support, man. It's time to talk about what happened while you were on the grind, and this is brought to you by Sports the Book. And for those who don't know, it's quite frankly the greatest sports book ever written. You can get one or two places. Go to sportsthebook.com, or you can go to our hub, which is warroomsports.com. But, for those who don't know, it was written by me. But it is the greatest sports book ever written. I'm not saying that because it was just written by me. That's just what it is. But, again, it's time to talk about what happened while you were on the grind. B. Austin, your guy, Vinny the Microwave Johnson. Story came out about him this week. They said that he made about $5 million while in the NBA. But they said he was very smart. He was a savvy investor. and they said Vinny the Microwave Johnson is now worth about $400 million through various investments, and he bought car dealerships, and so Vinny is sitting on some bread right now, man. So salute to Vinny Johnson. Just want to give him a shout out because we always talk about when athletes go broke. So when we find guys that get the bag, we gotta salute them. Let me ask you a question real quick though, right? So I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with Junior Bridgman that played in the NBA as well. Who's one of the biggest he used to be one of the biggest Wendy's franchisees, but he cashed that in, and now he owns a bunch of equity in Coca-Cola and has like bottling facilities. But he's also worth several $100 million. And I bring him up because in reading this Vinny Johnson story, what I found interesting is Vinny Johnson was a sixth man, and so was Junior Bridgman. And I wonder, is it anything to that where they're not like the face of the franchise or the go-to guy? They're not even a starter, but they're the sixth man, which means they're important to the team. So they still get a nice bag, but they don't have like all the pressures that come with being, the face of the franchise. Do you think there's anything to that, or am I just drawing that parallel?
No, I think there's something to that. I think that without being the face of the franchise in a time when you weren't in the 24/7 news cycle, they had the opportunity to ply their trade, make their money, enjoy the fruits of being a professional athlete, while not being a star that was bigger than the game, right? Because at the time when he played, there were probably three to five guys that were bigger than the game. And then everybody else was just, a tall guy playing ball, So I think that they had the benefit of that.
Vinny had two Hall of Fame guards. Vinny had two Hall of Fame guards in front of him, so he really didn't have the pressure they had. Like he had Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas. Like he had two Hall of Fame guards, so he was. But he made it in the microwave. But he,
Hall of Fame.
But I was just wondering. I was like, that's interesting that these two guys are like two of the biggest success stories. In terms of guys that's not going broke and actually turning the money and flipping it. And they're both six men. I just wonder if it was something to that, man. But anyway, salute to
I'm happy for them. I'm proud of the story, and this is another reason for War Room Sports to exist, because when we control the media, we're able to tell our stories, feature the stories that we want to feature, because let's face it, when we think of black wealth and black excellence in this country, it's always focused on certain areas as opposed to looking at captains of industry, right? We don't hear about Aliko Dangote. We don't hear about Vinny the Microwave Johnson and how he really amassed his wealth. We don't hear about Bridgman. We don't hear about those types of folks. We hear about Jay-Z, which is fine. Salute to him.
You're right. You're right about that, because the thing is, though, and I talk about this all the time, like it's amazing to me, not even just now, but throughout history, how many people that we have that have contributed to the quote-unquote culture, economically, artistically, intellectually. Like we're always given a couple names. Like, we just mentioned Dr. King, right? But when you read history, you see how many people that were involved in civil rights and how many people who fought for our freedom. Is like, wow. And when you talk about economics, you hear the Jay-Z or the Oprah. Like, we're giving those names, but there are people that are, doing great business and making, which is why things like Black Enterprise are so important. That's why HBCUs are so important. And I don't want to go off on a tangent, but let's just say we have people out there who are brain surgeons. We have people out there who are captains of industry, like you said. So there's people out there doing amazing things. So we want to highlight, because this is a sports show, Vinny the Microwave, because that story dropped, and we thought that was dope. Now, going back to politics and sports, because some people get pissed when we do this. A high school basketball team, they quit an MLK Day tournament because fans were flaunting a huge Trump flag, and they were afraid that things were going to boil over. There's been a lot of tension in the high school ranks with the Team MAGA crowd, which is crazy because they feel very emboldened these days. Teenage MAGA supporters, which is going to be scary because we know where they're going to be in the future. What do you think about this? Brother B, still there, good brother? Oh, okay. Well, I guess Brother B. Austin I don't know what happened to him. But anyway, in reference to this story, I thought this was the thing, man, because it just goes to show that just a flag can draw so much emotion. But I also understand the fact that, listen, if they don't do this and then something like bigger happens, this is a bigger story. So I wouldn't criticize them for walking away either, because I know that if you don't walk away, what the outcome could be. You know what I mean? Like, so it's easy to sit and criticize now, but if they didn't walk away and let them go out there and play, and then it turned into a melee, people will say, why would they go out there and play? You know, you can't have it both ways. Hold up, real quick. I'm seeing Skyview in the chat room. You said Reggie Lewis is still the GOAT? Reggie Lewis, huh? Anyway, B. Austin. I know you still there, B. Austin, can't hear you, good brother. Anyway, another good story, Kevin Durant. And we know a lot of our fans can't stand Kevin Durant these days, but Kevin Durant opened a Durant Center to help low-income students with college. And he did it in the DMV area, which is where he's from. So, you know, salute to Kevin Durant for still giving back to the community, although a lot of people have turned on you. You know, you're still out here trying to make a difference, and that's all we could ask for. So salute to Kevin Durant. Let's see what else is going on here. Ooh, we talked about Pacquiao earlier in reference to the fight. But here's another story surrounding this fight. Manny Pacquiao's home was burglarized while he was out there beating on Adrian Broner. His crib got burglarized, which is crazy considering the amount that Pacquiao gives back. Pacquiao is one of the more philanthropic fighters, but I guess that don't matter. When you got to pull the jokes, you got to pull the jokes. So while he was beating on Adrian Broner, his crib was getting ran through, and, you know, people did their homework. Sad story, but, you know, it is what it is.
Dang, they lined up. They lined my man Pac-Man up?
Yeah, he got Rafe and Miz while he was fighting.
Yo, I was about to say, we know who the perps were. Shout out to Rafe and Miz. I'm not snitching. I'm just saying, shout out to him. That previous story, the generator went down because, you know, anytime we get ready to talk about something that impacts society and what's going on, you know, they always try and cut us off. Listen, man, the dominant culture that is woven within the tapestry of this country's life's blood, listen carefully to what I'm saying, is white supremacy. That's the dominant culture of the United States of America. Nothing else. Is that the only culture that's here? Is that the only thing that we're not? No, of course not. There's wonderful, beautiful, amazing people of all races, creeds, and color. But the dominant culture is white supremacy. And we're seeing that now more than ever. These feelings, these people have always had them. They've always been there, hidden under the surface. Now, with this person as president, they feel comfortable. There's a certain comfort level in coming out and expressing that they feel as though America isn't great because it's not white enough. And these people don't know their place. And so we're going to take time to express exactly who we are and what we believe in, particularly on Martin Luther King's Day, so that you know exactly what it is. Girls playing basketball, playing a sport to entertain us. We're going to show you who and what it is. This is America, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm not surprised. I'm thankful that they chose to protest being disrespected. And now to all of those folks, mostly white, some not, that say, why does Make America Great Again bother you? Or why do people? These are the examples of what it's codified language. This is what it really means. Don't look at what the words are. Look at the messenger. Look at the originator and the context that it's used in. So, yeah, there we have it. And it's only going to continue because racism ain't going nowhere. White supremacy is not going anywhere. Not in the U.S. of America.
Pretty much. couple things real quick though. You said that so eloquently that Scott, you said you came back on sounding like God. But listen to this, man. Your man Darren McFadden. Darren McFadden got arrested for DWI, and what happened was my man was in a drive-through line and fell asleep, and he was sleeping in the drive-through, and they noticed something off about him, so he was subsequently arrested for driving while intoxicated. Former Raider, we're going to blame him on the Raiders, and, that's the Raider lifestyle. But anyway, man, here's a quick story for you. Iman Shumpert, NBA player Iman Shumpert. Now, this was a story that it was alleged. I don't know if it's true. Seemed kind of fishy, but he allegedly impregnated a porn star. And the thing is, he had relations with said porn star while having a threesome with his wife. So him and his wife invited a chick in, and he allegedly got the other chick pregnant. I don't know about that. How crazy is that? Like, how you having a threesome with your wife, but you end up dumping in you know what I mean?
I totally believe the story based on the lifestyle that I know them to live. And it's funny because
she got a song
on one hand,
she got a song on her album about a three-way called, I think it's called Three-Way as a matter of fact. So she bought that life.
On one hand, I love and support. I support Black love, and I like the images that they put out there, and the way that they try and support and promote the Black family. But I question their culture, and as adults, right, married adults or adults that are together, you have the right to do anything that you and your partner deem as, within y'all world, y'all sexuality, whatever it is. But what purpose does it serve? And what's the result or the potential result going to be? And as a queen, why do you allow that? And so I don't want to get too far into, all of that, but I definitely believe
I didn't even look at it that deep. The question I was trying to figure out is, my question I'm trying to figure out, because my thing is, y'all can do what y'all want to do, but my question is, what's the protocol with that? Like, if that's true, if everything is true, how do you dump it into other, like, isn't the
Here's the thing: when engaged in that, and it's your wife, should there even be protocols? See, that's why you don't invite somebody else in, because it shouldn't be. So that's why,
listen.
But that's neither here nor there, man. Hopefully they'll figure out. Now the baby will have two moms and one dad. So.
But I don't even know if it's true, because this rumor started because the chick is pregnant, and he put a heart under her picture, and people knew that they had engaged before, so they just assumed that he was saying, "Hey, that's my baby." So it started from some IG nonsense. So it might not even be true, but it just brought up further questions. I've never engaged in those kind of activities with my wife. Notice how I said that, but that's also my fault, because I'm like a selfish dude too, and I'll probably be jealous. I'm a jealous boy, so that's for my own good. But my point is, this is just weird, because if you do invite someone in, how do you end up finishing there? But maybe somebody can help me out that's listening. How you finish there if that's what you're doing?
Move on.
Yeah. No doubt. It's time to give some birthday shout-outs real quick, man.
Yay!
Yo, Scott Casimir is 35. Salute to him. Jay Walker, 47. Mary Lou Retton is 51. And Chris Warren is 52. I'm going to breeze right through them because none of them are that important to us. But we do want to give a big warm salute to all these folks on their birthday or their birthday week.
Yay!
But listen, you guys know how to get in touch with it. 323-410-0012. But it's time to talk about the NBA, and the NBA Wrap is brought to you by Digital Extreme Technologies. Do you or your business need a custom website? Stop using those Wix sites and use Digital Extreme Technologies. Get you a custom-made site, and you can get it at an affordable price, and you can put something on it. You ain't got to have all your bread up front. What you got to do is this. Go to digitalextremetech.com, or you can call 267-205-4203. But here's the kick. When you make this phone call to Digital Extreme Tech, in order to get hooked up, say, yo, I heard it while listening to the War Room, and Jimmy said, I need this site. I can't use a Wix site because my Wix site is trash. Definitely time to talk about some basketball real fast so we get out of here. So, and I'm not even giving you the statistics, just to give you the NBA Players of the Week. They're D'Angelo Russell and James Harden. D'Angelo Russell's having a pretty impressive season. We know how he left L.A., for snitching and so on and so forth. But he's found a home over there in Brooklyn, and he's playing very good basketball. They say he's a borderline all-star this year. So salute to him for getting his career back on track after what happened, with him out in L.A. James Harden is just tearing the entire NBA up. He's still on fire. He's putting up historic numbers. And, we had a long conversation about this in our group chat today because, I was trying to point out the fact that if you look at the whole Linsanity phase, when Linsanity was going crazy, that was within this same system. And Jeremy Lin was putting up Hall of Fame numbers. And then as soon as D'Antoni left, the very next game, it was a wrap.
It was back to it was like Cinderella and the slipper. It turned into a pumpkin.
Exactly. So we talked a little bit about this earlier. How this is also just to show you the kind of skills he has. So you have the guy, tremendous skills, and I think what you said is he's already a Hall of Famer without the system, but you put him in the system and you get this. I got a question for you. My man put up 61 last night. And he's getting to the foul line. He's knocking down three. He's doing pretty much everything. He's like fourth in the league in assists while leading the league in scoring. Do you think he'll have a shot at Kobe's 81? That's my question.
Potentially, only because of the free throws, and that's the only without the way he goes to the line. I would say no, it's going to be a challenge. But because my man slows the game down so much, he slows the game down and he gets 20, 25 free throw attempts. I could see a game where he goes to the line and gets 35 from the line, 40 from the line. I can see that. And then it becomes a question of how in shape is he? How fit is he? Is he able to maintain his fitness in the game to be able to hit at that clip? Because he's going to get tired, and we're going to see the fatigue set in. That's the reason. Some people will say it's because of the talent of the Rockets. They're just not talented enough to really go anywhere in the playoffs, especially not versus the dynasty. And that's what we call the Golden State Warriors over here, the dynasty, right? So some would say that, but I would also say their chances become even lessened because dude's going to be fatigued by the time the playoffs come around. And the refs, we all know, they get their instructions from Adam Silver. Don't call that bullshit during playoff time. So when he stops getting those calls.
Guy View says that he thinks that Klay Thompson will hit 81 first. Here's my thing, though. Here's the reason why I think Harden may have a shot, because even in watching him perform last night, he takes a lot of threes. So if he has one of those games where he could put it all together, so I see Casey Mack has brought that up too in our chat. He says he misses too many threes, but he's saying the same thing I was getting ready to say. If he has a night where he's knocking down his threes and he's getting to the line, yeah, I could see it. Because so many threes. When
you add them together, so you have to have a way to score easy buckets to get that type of number. Like at some point, it's got to come easy, right? So usually it's either one area of your game is just clicking or working as opposed to all. For Kobe, it's mid-range plus threes, plus getting to the rack, plus the line. With Harden, he's not really a post-up player. He got a decent post-up game, actually, but we don't see it because Antony doesn't allow that. But if there comes a time when he is hitting from three and still getting to the line, at a high clip, shooting over 90. That's the easy buckets we're talking about. Him getting to the line is like Kobe posting up and getting to the line.
Dog, it's to the point with him where the way he's playing right now, where I saw him like get 40 the other night, and they said he had a bad game. I'm like, yo, how do you have 40 in a game that people say you were off? Like that's how crazy it is right now. Like, yo, 40, you was off though. That's just kind of crazy, man. Here's the story I gotta get your opinion on. We got about 10 minutes left. I want to get your opinion on this. And this happened a couple weeks ago. Kyrie Irving, as we call him. There's a story about him calling LeBron to apologize. He wanted to apologize and recognize, his part in how everything played out, and recognize how difficult it is to be a leader now that he's in his current, his current situation with the Celtics, where he's like the leader and trying to get guys to follow him. So he apologized because now he recognized it. Some people thought this was a great thing. Some people criticized him for it. Like I saw Charles Barkley go in and say, let it be. You ain't got to do that, though. So I want to see how you felt about it. Do you think it was like a sign of respect? It was a good thing that it showed his maturation? Or do you think he was like, he's a poisse? What do you think?
I don't really understand these new dudes. I mean, on one hand, I could be uber mature and say it takes a very big man to acknowledge his wrongs and apologize to another. But on the other hand, I could say, yo, you in the middle of a season, cuz. You at war. You're leading your team. Yo, you can save that for the off season behind closed doors. Like, you're apologizing in the media to a dude that plays. I don't understand. I don't.
I kind of had this conversation with my mother about certain things where when you get out on your own and you start to recognize stuff, and you call your mom like, yo, I see what you was talking about, because you couldn't recognize it at the time. But that's also my mom too, so it's a little different than you calling another grown-ass man. It's a little different. But what I took from it, to be honest with you, what I took from it, though, is I think this was like he's playing mind games. This is not really about LeBron. This is him taking a shot at light-skinned Mamba. This is his way of, like, getting Jason Tatum along. He's basically saying, yo, I'm the leader of this team, and now I got to deal with these young knuckleheads. To me, this is a shot at his team. I think
that's deep.
This whole story getting out there. Yeah, I think that's what I think it is, though. I think it's like him asserting himself as the leader. Because coming into the season, some people were saying this is Tatum's team. This is that and the third. And I don't know if Caps know, Tatum isn't doing what you guys thought he would be doing this season. Some will say he's taking a step back. But it's easy to do that. I mean, he's still having an okay season, but, there were cats that were jumping out the window. Shout out to the homie Court, who said that Tatum was like a top 5 player in the East and he was better than Giannis. And I just want to know dope or dog food, because Tatum isn't there, and I think this is about.
Yo, my man Giannis could fall off about 5 points per game, and he's still cooking Tatum right now.
Yo, in every statistical category, every one of them. Rebounds, all of it. Field goal percentage, all of it. So to me, that's what that was about, though. But you said that you couldn't see like calling another grown man. You said what?
No. Listen. That your perspective is amazing, and I do know that Byrie sits at the feet of the Mamba, and the Mamba sits at the feet of Phil Jackson, and all them dudes is into the cerebral, and so Byrie is a pseudo intellectual. And he plays a little bit of mind games because his hero played mind games. So I can appreciate your perspective. I never would have connected those dots at all. But now that I'm thinking, that it could be something to that. It could be. I just couldn't apologize to LeBron, because in my mind, if I'm Kyrie, I'm better than LeBron. LeBron's biggest moment in Cleveland, the biggest moment in LeBron's Cleveland tenure, was me. I did it because I hit that game winner. Like, I can't apologize to a nigga who can't take game winners.
Real quick, though, before we get out of here, Carmelo got traded to the Bulls. Some say he's going to be waived right away. My man Carmelo played for so many teams in the last, 18 months, because I don't know. I don't even know what to say no more, man. Like, all I can say is stay mellow. Because I don't know, man. So, last thing I want to talk to you about is one Victor Oladipo. So, he got injured. He has a ruptured quad tendon, so he's done for the season. My question to you is, do you think that him and Bria broke up, and that's what happened? That's what made this happen?
Yo, I hope because of where he comes from, I hope he didn't break up with her, man. Yo, man, you won, cuz. You not even that good, but you good. Get well. Yes. Get better soon.
Yo.
We all do this. We all want to be Victor Oladipo. I don't want to be LeBron. I want to be Vic.
Salute to Bria Miles, man. For those who don't know, just look up Bria Miles. That's allegedly, it was allegedly his girlfriend. We don't know now. We thinking that maybe this is the result of them breaking up. And what happens when you break up with Bria is you get injured. So, but salute to Bria Miles, because we really just put Victor in our topics to talk about her. So, salute to her, not him. But get well, though, too, good brother. Get well, Victor, man. So, man, listen, man, it's time for us to get out of here, man. I want to say thank you for joining us in the War Room, everybody who's listening. Shout out to everybody in the chat room, Facebook, Twitter, those in the group chat. Salute to all of you. People that called and got through, we appreciate it. Those that didn't get a chance to get through, we apologize. Salute to all of our listeners. Tune in next week live right here or on demand as we dig deeper into our coverage in the Super Bowl because, we'll be getting close to the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl 53. We'll also catch you up everything happening in the NBA and everything else around the world of sports. So until then, enjoy your week. Check us out online all the time. Catch everything we do at the Hub, which is warroomsports.com. Also, pick up my book. You can get that at sportsthebook.com or right back at that Hub, which is warroomsports.com. Once again, federal workers and everyone else affected by the government hostage situation, keep your head up. In the words of Tupac Amaru Shakur. Until next time, everybody, don't accept mediocrity. Steadfast in the war against ignorance, and we shall see you chumps on top.
6 to 8. Yeah. War Room Sports. Y'all ready? Let's go. Stay in tune to Jimmy. Know the blueprint. Every Thursday, 6 to 8, they do this. Shout out to Dev, PJ, B. Austin, Bay on replay. WarRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app. If not, dial 323-140012. They be going and you sensitive, then oh well. Physical podcast, let's talk sports. Showtime like magic in the block push. Listen live, push one to join in. Rip your team or listen for your enjoyment. Hip-hop scholars, pit stop and knowledge. Should be in sports credits, I ain't talking college. 5 guys, no beef though. Corporate secret, but the streets know. Belafonte, I got a G flow. KC, royalty, I'm in beast mode. 2 hours, get your game up. Who's the best in sportscast? You better name us. War Room Sports. Yeah, you know, Jimmy. Coming on the beat.
War Room Sports. www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.